back to the Kay Monet Life. It's me, Kay Monet, and I am back with another recipe from my You Can Cook series. This is how I make my turkey meatloaf, and I am absolutely excited to show you this recipe, but I am more excited that I am collabing with one of my favorite vloggers, 1 Cup of Cocoa Daily. That is 1 Cup of Cocoa Daily. She is awesome sauce. Her videos are so much fun. She keeps it real, and she's going to show us how she makes her meatloaf. So after you have watched my recipe, please mosey on over to 1 Cup of Cocoa Daily's YouTube page and check out how she makes hers. I promise you, you will not be disappointed in her videos. She's a lot of fun, so go check her out after you watch this. Now I am using ground turkey because I think it just tastes better. I am also going to be using 3 slices of bread. I believe I add 2 later on. I'm also going to be using a whole egg, large egg. But you can use jumbo, it's up to you. I'm going to be using a cup of milk in this recipe. Yes, milk. Also, that is 4 cloves of garlic minced dicely, and 2 large onions. We love onions. And your seasonings of your choice. I'm going to be using onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, and a little parsley. So that's my ingredients. Now, I first start out by taking the bread. The bread is going to be used to keep my meatloaf moist. Some people use breadcrumbs, and what I do is I take the bread and I add a cup of milk to the bread, and I make sure that milk soaks through each slice of the bread. Again, you can use breadcrumbs here. I just had too much bread and I didn't want it to waste, so I decided to use the bread. So I'm just making sure that it soaks up all of that milk. And I like using turkey, ground turkey instead of beef, because beef has sometimes a gristle in it and it produces a lot of grease. So it just makes it easier for me to stand and cook by using turkey. So I'm adding my minced garlic here. I like a lot of garlic, but more than garlic, we love a lot of onion. We like to see our onion in our meatloaf. But again, at this particular point, it's to your taste. Your meatloaf will be superb based on what you like. Some people will add green pepper here. So it's just what you want. Now, I like to season turkey heavy. I know that is a lot of garlic powder, but again, it's powder, not salt, so I feel good about it. And when you're working with ground turkey, it takes a lot to season that because it's very little fat. So again, I'm going to add my seasoning. That was onion powder, and now I'm using pepper. Be careful with your pepper because too much pepper can make the meatloaf spicy. And then I like to add a little dried parsley here. If I had fresh, I would use that. When you're using dried herbs, try to pinch those herbs in your fingers to release the oils. So don't just throw those herbs in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my bread and make sure I get every last bit. And I'm going to be adding an egg here. And I cracked that egg on my counter, which I usually don't like doing. So you're going to see my outfit because I am going to clean that counter before I go any further. I do not play with raw eggs, so please excuse me here. So after I have done that, we're going to get into the mixing part. Now, when you're dealing with meatloaf, you want to use your hands. You want to get in there and really mix all those ingredients up. This is great if you're cooking with your kid because children like to play in things, and this would be awesome. One thing I will warn you against is over mixing your meatloaf. You don't want your loaf to be tough, and over mixing can do that. And it just basically means that your meatloaf is going to be a little tough. There's no other way to explain it. So try not to over mix here. Now, based on the texture of my meatloaf, it wasn't as firm as I would like it to be, so I added 2 additional pieces of bread to the mix. I just took the end pieces. Once you start making meatloaf, you will get the feel of what you want your meatloaf to feel like. You want it firm and you want it moist. So you want it to stay together as it's cooking. You can compare it to making a burger. You know how much meat you want in that burger. You just want to make sure that your loaf is firm but still moist. So try not to overmix and just feel it. After a while, after making it for some time, you'll get the feel of it and you'll know what is right and what's not quite right. Now, the next part is the fun part, and this is a part that you can bring your children in on, making the actual meatloaf into the pan. Now, some people will use a loaf pan. It's just basically up to you. I like using a longer pan because I like my meatloaf to be a lot thinner in the slices. So one meatloaf will last my husband and I about a meal and a half. So all I'm doing here is making sure that I am molding the meatloaf, and making sure that my molding is going to ensure that it cooks evenly. And I also like to make my meatloaf as long as my pan. So that's what I'm doing here. Just molding it, making sure that it's all even on each side, in the middle, and just bringing it to the edge of the pan. Don't worry about it burning. It won't. Just bring it on over if that's how you want your meatloaf to look. So this part right here is a lot of fun. And it's very simple, and once you start doing it, you get the hang of it and you know exactly what you want your loaf to look like. So yeah, bring your kids in and let them have a little fun making the meatloaf. Now here I wash my hands because I'm about to get another piece of foil and put that firmly on top of the pan. I want to make sure that it is tight. So when I do this, I'm just going around the pan, making sure that it's crumpled underneath itself. And I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for 40 minutes. Now, after I have cooked my meatloaf, I will take it out and get some of the oils off of it, the excess grease off of it, and I begin making my sauce. Here I have about a cup and a third of tomato sauce and a full cup of barbecue sauce because I wanted my sauce to be a little sweet. You can make anything you want right here. Some people actually use brown gravy, so it's just up to you. This night I used the tomato sauce with a little barbecue sauce. You can also use spaghetti sauce. It's basically up to you. And I just take that sauce and I distribute it evenly over my loaf. Look how yummy that meatloaf looks already. And I haven't even finished it. M to the G. So again, I'm just putting my sauce on top of my meatloaf. Again, you can use tomato sauce, you can use spaghetti sauce, you can use barbecue sauce, you can use ketchup. It's your meatloaf. Don't let anybody tell you that you're doing it wrong. It's to the taste of you and your family. And if your husband likes it, baby, it's right. Okay? So, after I have taken it out of the oven, after leaving it in there for about 20 minutes, you're basically just heating your sauce through. This is my finished product. Now, this was tasty. I must say that this was a really good meatloaf, and it was moist, yet still firm. And you can use anything you like in your ingredients. It's just up to your taste. Get you some mashed potatoes and a good broccoli. Woo! And while you are doing that, ask yourself the question, why be quiet? Live your life out loud.